Hello everyone, my name is Mario Tiozzo and I'm the Data Analysis and Visualization Librarian here at UMB Libraries. Today we're going to take a look at how to analyze data in this spreadsheet and calculate the three central tendencies, the mean, the median, and the mode. Additionally, we will see how to use these calculations on raw data, but also how they differ somewhat when dealing with a frequency table. Before we start with our calculations, it might be helpful to discuss what we are calculating. The mean is the arithmetic average. It is calculated by adding up all the relevant numbers in a data set and then dividing them by the number of values in that set. The mean is great to provide information about the quote-unquote typical number in a data set, but it does underperform when dealing with extreme values, whether positive or negative. As an example, if Bill Gates walked into your class today, the mean individual net worth of the people in that class would be over $1 billion. That doesn't mean, however, that most people or even some people in the class are billionaires. It's just that the mean is a poor performer when dealing with extreme values. The median is the middle number in the dataset. It is calculated by sorting the dataset and picking the number in the middle. If there are two numbers in the middle, we take the mean of those two numbers to come up with a median. The mode is the number or numbers that show up the most in the dataset. You calculate it by simply looking at which one has the highest occurrence in the dataset. Okay, let's start calculating. Here, once again, we have a modified version of the PISA 2022 data for Hong Kong. There's a lot of data here, so for our purposes, we will use the science score data in column P. Let's copy and paste it into another sheet to focus on this data series. So go to the data series, at the very top, and click Control-Shift-Down to get all the data series. Control-C to copy. Then let's bring it in here into an empty sheet and press Control-V to paste it. Great. Let's start off by calculating the components of the mean. Remember that the mean is the sum of all the data points divided by the number of data points. First, let's calculate the sum of all the data points. We do this by going on an empty cell. Let's pick E2 over here, pressing the equal sign, the name of the formula, in this case sum, S-U-M, open the parentheses. Let's go to the top of our data series. Click on it, Control-Shift-Down to get the entire data series, close the parenthesis, press Enter. This is the sum of all the numbers in the data series. Let's tag it. Great. Next, we can calculate the number of data points by using the count formula. We do this again by going to an empty cell. Let's pick this one, pressing equal, the name of the formula, in this case count, open the parenthesis, click on the first term of the data series, Control-Shift-Down to get the entire data series, close the parenthesis, press Enter. Let's tag this, number of observations. Great. So the mean would be the sum divided by the count. So let's go to this empty cell here, press the sum, and divide that by the count. That is our mean, 524.549697. Let's tag that. Terrific. Now that we've calculated the components of the mean, there's an easier way to do this in Excel by using the average formula. This is confusing because, as we know, average could mean the mean, the median, or the mode, but Excel calls the formula for calculating the mean average. So let's go to an empty cell. Let's press equal, the name of the formula, average, open the parenthesis, click on the first term, Control-Shift-Down to get the entire series, close the parenthesis, press Enter. Great. It's effectively the same number. Let's just go expand this a little bit. We get the same number. Tag this mean as well. Okay, we can do the same for calculating the median. Again, equals the name of the formula, median, open the parenthesis, first term, Control-Shift-Down, close the parenthesis, press Enter. Median. Let's verify our answer using our raw data. Let's sort our data first. Remember, we can use the sort formula, equals, sort, open the parenthesis, first term, Control-Shift-Down, close the parenthesis, press Enter. Now our data is sorted. Let's also create an index. So I'll just right-click here on the A column, insert a column. I'll call this index, press 1, and then I'll equals this cell plus 1, and I'll just double-click on this, and I'll get an index of continuous numbers jumping by 1. This will let me know what position each term is in the data series. So we know from our count function that there are 5,907 values in this data series. And we also know that the median is the 50th percentile. So let's divide that count number by 2. 2,953.5. What does that mean? Well, effectively what it means is that there are 2,553 numbers before the median, then there's the median, then there's another 2,953 numbers after the median. All this adds up to 5,907, which is our count, which is perfect. So effectively, our median is at the 2,954th position. So let's go looking for it. First, I'm going to lock my screen using the freeze pane. That's going to lock in the top half so it won't move. And I'll go down to the 2,954th position. 2,954th position, we have 531.277 in a sorted column, which is the same as what the median formula is returning. Great. I'm just going to go back here, unfreeze my pane. All right, we can keep going. We can basically do the same process for calculating the mode. So an empty cell equals name of the formula, MODE.MULT, and this provides a range of modes. So if you have more than one mode in your data, this will provide you with all the relevant values. Open the parenthesis, click on the first value of your data set, Control-Shift down, close the parenthesis, press enter. And you notice here that there are effectively two values, mode or modes in this case. So far, we've looked at calculating the averages when we have the raw data in front of us. What if the data has been synthesized into a frequency table? How do we do that? To get a sense of that, let's go to an example of a frequency table I created using the grade data series, which is column Q in a PISA dataset. To get a refresher of frequency tables, you can go to a previous video in this series which explains how to create one. We can see on this frequency table that the student's grade year varies from grade 7 all the way to grade 11. Now let's figure out what the mean, median, and mode are for this frequency table. To calculate the mean, we have to create a simple weighted average. To do so, we multiply the number in column C by its associated number in column D. So let's do that. Let's go to column E here, an empty cell, equals 7 in this case, or C2, times D2, which is 32. You can then go back to the active cell, double click on the right bottom corner to drag down the formula. Great. Let's tag this. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's double click just to make sure that worked, which it did. Let's call this grade times F for frequency. Now let's sum up this new data series. So we go to the bottom here, press equals, sum, open the parenthesis, and let's go to the bottom, press the colon. You can go all the way up, close the parenthesis, press enter. And now we divide that total by the frequency total. So we equals this total divided by the frequency total, which is in D7. Press enter. And there you have it. The mean of this data series is 9.61. Let's tag it. Let's see if it matches up when we calculate the raw data. Let's go here, equals average to find the mean. Go to our raw data, first data point, Control-Shift down, close the parenthesis, press enter. Perfect. Calculating the mode is simply looking at which component is the biggest. Here we have a small data series, so it jumps out. But when you have a larger one, that may not be as obvious. So let's first calculate what percentage each component occupies in this frequency table. To do this, we simply take the frequency number and divide it by the total. So let's go here, F2, take the frequency, let's divide it by the total. And let's put in some absolute values around the total so it's locked in by pressing F4. Enter, and let's double click on the bottom right corner to drag down that formula. Let's double check if that it works. Yep. So we can see that grade 10 is the largest component, and therefore it's the mode. Tag that, mode 10. Let's verify this with our data set. Equals MODE.MULT. Press tab to complete the formula. Click on the first value of the data series, Control-Shift down, close the parenthesis, press enter. Great. Alternatively, you can also calculate the mode of a frequency table by finding the largest value of the frequency. You can do this by using the max formula. Let's do it quickly here. We'll go to an empty cell, equals max, open the parenthesis, highlight the frequency series, close the parenthesis, and there's the largest number in the data series. Okay, I'll delete that for now. Let's also tag this percentage. Calculating the median is simply figuring out what number appears in the middle of the sorted data set. If it is sorted, which it is in this frequency table, the number we are looking for should be at the 50th percentile, or 50% of the data series. So we can build on our percentage column to calculate the cumulative percentage. That's basically the running total of the percentage. To do this, we go to an empty cell, pick here G2, press equals, click on the first percentage, which is an F2, and press enter. Now go to the cell below, press equal again, click on the data at the top, so in G2, plus sign to add it up, and now let's click on the second percentage number. So this is taking the first percentage number and adding the second percentage number. Click enter. Now if we double click on the bottom corner here, it'll drag down the formula. You can see that it goes all the way to 100%. Let's double click here just to see what's going on. So on row 4, we had 34.6% of the total percentage accounted for, and then we added 64.8% to get to 99.4%. So this is the running total, or the cumulative percentage. So let's tag that, cumulative percentage. So given this data series, what should the median be? We know that it would be at the 50th percentile. So it looks like it would be grade 10 since it falls between 35% and 99%. So the 50% mark should fall between those two values. So we can go here, median, input the number 10. Let's verify using a formula to calculate the raw data. Equals median, open the parenthesis, go to the first value, Control Shift down, close the parenthesis, press enter, and it's 10 as well. Great. So the grade distribution data series has a mean of 9.61, and both the mode and the median are 10. So it looks like this distribution skews somewhat to the left. Okay, that should be good for now. We've learned how to calculate all three types of averages, the mean, the median, and the mode, and we could do this when we encounter raw data as well as frequency tables. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.